Hi there, welcome to another video. I just wanted to talk a little bit today about sowing seeds. It's the 28th of February today. It's the first, well, one of the first days that's good for sowing beetroot. Today I'm going to be sowing a variety called Bolt Hardy, which is especially good for growing early in the season, as the name suggests, Bolt Hardy. So it's hardy from bolting. So it's a good one to start early. The compost I'm using is a sort of recipe I've taken from people like Charles Dowding. So I'm using Moorland Gold seed and cutting compost, which is a really good potting compost. And then I'm also mixing in about 25% of my homemade compost, because that's about all I can put in, and about 10% vermiculite. Um, so that's all in here. Hope you can see that. It's a really nice product, really light and fluffy. I've sort of mixed it, and to be honest, I could probably sieve this and get some of the lumps out, but I think it's going to be all right for what I'm doing today. So I'm just going to run you through how I fill my trays. It might be a bit different to how other people do it, but this has given me some really good results. So as you can see, there's a big lump there. I'll take that out. There are some woody bits in here, and that's from my homemade stuff. Um, I'm not too worried about that. So get a nice load on there. I think these take about 2 litres each, these trays, but they're very good trays as well. If you've not come across them before, um, these are the container-wise Charles Dowding module trays. There's 60 in one of these, and they're really easy to just pop plants out at the bottom. So that's why I like them. You can get a lot in, and they don't use a huge amount of compost as well, because the cells are sort of tapered towards the bottom. So just spreading this out evenly across the surface. Just trying to get a good covering. It doesn't matter if there's a lot sitting on the top, because it's all going to get pushed in. I'm doing 2 trays at once just to, it's just easier to do a few at a time. And I'm sowing 2 trays of beetroot today. So yeah, so once that's spread over the top, just want to poke them in, and you want to give it a good push in to every cell. Just work your way up. Helps if they're level with each other, and then you can actually get the holes. And then you can see how quick that was, and that is 120 holes I've just did there. And then spread it across again. Get another even coating. I might even just chuck another handful on. Whether this will all go in or not, there's a little bit of grass that's made its way in. Again, yeah, so we're just giving it a really nice worm. Chuck that into the bed. So yeah, same thing again. Just push it all in. Again, being nice and firm, not too firm, so you're really packing it in there, but just so there's a nice sort of firm soil for it to root into, and develop a nice strong root, and sort of fill the plug with roots as well. These cell trays are really good because they also have big holes at the bottom. So the when the roots hit the bottom, they'll hit air and they'll stop growing. So you get a sort of air pruning effect. So this seed, it just fell out of my pocket when I was outside, and it's raining. So the actual packet of the seed just got totally destroyed. Luckily, it's in this secondary packet. I am a bit concerned it's got damp though. But I guess we just have to hope for the best. I mean, I don't have a need to sow all this beetroot right now, so just going to have to hang on to it and hope it lasts. So we're going to be multi-sowing these, and we're aiming for, I think, sort of 3 to 5 per cell. So I'm just going to go for that. I'm not being, too precise, otherwise it will take me forever. I'll just do 1 tray so I can show you very quickly how I do it. Use my dog. But you can see it's like you can be pretty quick with this. doesn't have to be an exact science. You can always come back and thin plants. And in really bad situations where you've had like really poor germination, I found popping two plugs in together. So say you have two plugs that have only got a couple of seeds have germinated. If you just plant them together in a hole, just dib a slightly bigger hole and pop them both in, and then you sort of putting them together, you'll still end up with a decent clump. So you get the idea. It's not, don't have to take forever with this. I mean, you do see some people just sprinkle it across the top of the tray, and that can work. But obviously seed is expensive, so you want to try to minimize wastage where you can. I think also sometimes with beetroot and chard seeds, you'd actually get more than one seedling from a seed, just because they sort of come off in kind of clumps. So sometimes there's actually two seeds together. But I just wanted to give you, anyone who's interested, an idea of how I do it. I know lots of people do it in different ways. I have had pretty good results doing it like this. And this stuff I sort of copied from what I learned at Charles Dowding. So it's a tried and tested method. So I'll come back to those other seeds, fill that other tray later, because it's going to be boring for you to watch all of that. Just drop some on the floor. So that is the tray with seeds planted. So I'm just going to come back just with a handful of compost. But what I have forgotten to do is just press those seeds in. So you just want to firm in the seeds where you put them, just to make sure you've got good contact with the soil. Just a gentle push, just to, make sure they're well bedded in. And then I'll come along with just a handful of compost, and I'm just going to literally just sprinkle it over the top. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't even have to cover every seed, but you just want to make sure it's sort of consistent. And there's enough to sort of armor it in the way that when you water it, all the water's not just going to come out and flood everywhere. So what I'll do now, I just like to put a bit of plastic down. This is just an old compost bag, just to catch any of the nice seed compost I've got, because I don't want to be wasting that. So you can see this tray is now filled with seeds. You just need a watering can with a nice fine rose on it. And what I'm going to do is just try to do controlled passes, so I know that I'm getting the right amount of moisture in. Just let that settle in. And again. And so that's about it. That is now planted. Just gonna give you a brief show of where I'm taking things once I've planted them. So I've built a hotbed. I did. I'm sort of working on doing a video on that. It's just the salad in here. My lovely dog. The in-house rodent protection. Here I've just been pricking out some seedlings as well. So this is some red cabbage and green cabbage. It's well, I think it's a pointed cabbage. It's called autumn burns. Looks really beautiful, and they grow very big. Down here we just got some strawberries. Just doing a test with some new mushroom compost I've got, and then I put just a touch of the Moorland Gold on top. So I'm going to be planting pea shoots into here, and the pea shoots are just there. This isn't my primary nursery. This is sort of just growing on. So I've got some chard, some mizuna, and some more Grenoble red lettuce, and then down here I've got a little bit of rocket. So all of that will be planted out shortly, I think, in the next week or so. Nice bench I managed to get for free the other day, and it's just so wet up here. It's barely stopped raining for a day since kind of the start of February. But yeah, we're up here on the compost heap, and what I've made here is a little bit of a hotbed. It's not getting really hot at the moment, which is sort of fine. Like it's warm enough that it's germinating seeds that would otherwise have struggled at this time of year. Just having a bit of trouble getting the glass off the top. There we go. So you can see lots of seedlings coming up in there. Yeah, the thermometer's reading just under 16 degrees on the surface, but that's not very accurate. I've got a compost thermometer that I put in, and it's saying it's about 35 degrees just below the surface of here. So that's plenty of warmth to get the seeds going. As you can see, we've got peas coming up here, broad beans, lots of onions just coming up. They obviously take a bit longer to germinate. These are all sown, I think, on the 22nd. So it'll be 2 weeks on Friday that these have been sown, and hopefully everything should be up and poking out. Coriander's quite a slow one to germinate, so we'll give it its time. And we'll jump off of here. It's a terrible idea. Oh, very wet. But you can see this is on top of the compost heap, so this is all fresh manure. This is an older bed, the oldest bed. This is probably a better way so you can see what's in it. So yeah, it's manure, sheep's wool, wood chip, lots of brown material, and so that's giving off a lot of heat as it breaks down, and then I'm trying to use that heat to start my seedlings. So yeah, that's about it really. I'll make another video when I get around to planting some of these things out and let you know how I do that. Excuse the mess out here. We have got some daffodils that are just coming up and getting ready to flower. So spring's on its way. It's starting to get exciting. I've got a load more compost to finish building all these beds. Yeah, it's getting very exciting. Tulips coming up. Everything's coming to life.